It is an absolutely huge weekend for pro wrestling. WWE has NXT, the Great American Bash, Saturday night's main event, and WWE Evolution, which I have already released a predictions video for, so go check that out on the Hot Tag Wrestling channel. Over in AEW, we have a big ROH pay-per-view. Takeshita's going for the title, Thunder Rosa's going for the title, but we are here to talk about AEW All In Texas, what looks like one of the biggest cards we've had in AEW for years and has the potential to be the standout best show of the year. And one thing that is absolutely fantastic going into it is a lot of the matches are not as predictable as they have been in recent memory on AEW pay-per-view. This is a really up in the air kind of card. So I'm excited to go through each match and give you guys my thoughts and my predictions on the winner for each bout. If you guys like the video, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, leaving a comment, and going and checking out some of the other videos on the Hot Tag channel, as it really does help a new channel like mine to grow. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into it with the Casino Battle Royals. We're going to start with the men's casino gauntlet match. According to Cage Matches, what I'm looking at, 3 people currently announced: MJF, Mark Briscoe, and Mystico. You'd have to assume people like Josh Alexander and Brody King and Bandito are going to be in there as well. We might get a few returns, a few surprises. Ricochet will probably be in there too. I think this is MJF's to win, though. I think that the story he is telling with the Hurt Syndicate, and he has been really focused on getting a world title shot as of recent, more so than other characters on screen. I think this is his match to win. I do think there's a possibility of Mark Briscoe winning, because in the weeks leading up to this, MJF and the Hurt Syndicate have really been on MJF about him not being able to win the big one, not being able to win matches. And though he's everyone's favorite and everyone's best friend, he can't really get it done, which, as I'm talking about it more and more, makes it sound like Mark Briscoe could win this match. I don't think so, though. I still think they're going to give it to MJF, mainly because of who I have winning in the main event of this card. Not to give anything away. MJF's taking the Casino Gauntlet. Let's jump over to the women's side. A lot more up in the air for me. Really, the winner of this match is dependent on who I think is going to win Toni Storm versus Mercedes Mone in later in the card. And not to give anything away, but I'm booking for Mercedes to be the champion. So 2 names come to mind. One who's already been announced, the #1 spot in Chris Statlander, and also Athena. I think there's an outside chance that Willow could do it and they could run back the Mercedes Willow program. But I think as a first feud, you want to go to a recipe you know is going to succeed. And that's why I could see it being Willow. But I think Chris and Athena are more handy picks. I think that they're better shots. I think Chris has been booked a little bit better on TV recently. But I also feel like there's the possibility that at I think it might be Supercard of Honor, the ROH show on Saturday, Athena could drop the title to Thunder Rosa and then come into this match and win the Casino Gauntlet. And that's my prediction. I think Athena is going to win this match and be the first contender for Mercedes when she wins the title. But we'll get into that when we get into that. A real up-in-the-air match next. It is the Young Bucks taking on the team of Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay, with the added stipulation that if the Bucks win, Ospreay and Swerve cannot challenge for the world title in the next calendar year. I think it's a calendar year and not just till the end of the year. So an interesting stipulation they put on it, and honestly, it makes me more confident that the Bucks will win this match with that stipulation. I thought this was an easy Ospreay Strickland win before. I thought that sort of the story they're telling over the course of this card is the disillusionment of the Death Riders. So they'd win this match, the Ops would win the Trios match, and Hangman would win the world title match. But I'm not sure that is going to be the case anymore, because this stipulation really adds an interesting piece of booking. For either Mox or Hangman. If Mox wins the title, then Hangman just lost. Swerve can't challenge. Ospreay can't challenge. Who could possibly be left when it seems like we're at our lowest? Who could be left? And that's when you can do a Darby Allin return and have him win the title if that's the plan. Or if Hangman Page is going to win in the main event, not putting Swerve or Ospreay in that title position is a really, really easy way to give Hangman a long run as champion without people constantly asking the question of why isn't Ospreay the champion or why isn't Swerve the champion, so we can really just be focused on the Hangman run. It's sort of up in the air, but I think I've sort of talked myself into the Young Bucks winning and Ospreay and Swerve not being able to challenge for the titles for a year. And this could spin off into Ospreay versus Swerve 3, where for the first time in their feud, in their matches in AEW, we will have an actual rivalry. The first match, it was two friends facing off for the world title. The second match, once again, two friends. They sort of struck a more friendly dynamic in the match where the story going into it, just shook my whole table, sorry. Getting too energetic. It's just wrestling. The story going into it was Ospreay has to defeat Swerve so that Hangman can go in and win the title at All In. But they still played it pretty friendly. I think that the Bucks are going to win this match, and it's going to spin off into a Swerve versus Ospreay feud with Swerve playing the heel and Ospreay playing the babyface, and that'll set nicely up for the Hangman Page run. I'm sort of just spoiling all the matches later in this card, but whatever. So he doesn't have to face the criticism of it being Ospreay or it being Swerve instead of him. So I'm putting the Bucks to win this match. Next, we have a real filler match. This card looks absolutely incredible, except for this match. It is for the AEW World Tag Titles. It's a three-way tag match. Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin taking on, what is it called? Jet Speed, Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey versus the Patriarchy of Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. Easy Hurt Syndicate win. Match will be okay. It'll probably be like, 3.5 stars, 3 3/4 maybe. I think this will probably be the low point of the card, and I'm not too excited about it, and I don't really have much more to say than that. Hurt Syndicate retain. Next, we're talking about a match on paper that doesn't really need to be on this card because it looks a little bit bloated as is, but it's going to be a great match. TNT title, Adam Cole defending against Kyle Fletcher. Adam Cole has not held the title for that long. He has held it for 96 days. That's actually longer than I thought. Winning it back in April. Hasn't really done anything of significance with the title. Has mainly been in trios programs with, God, what's his group called? The Paragon, with Roddy and Kyle going against the Don Callis family, and that sort of splintered off into this one with this match with Fletcher. So my thinking brain says he's probably going to retain because he's liked backstage, he's liked by management, and he hasn't had a very long run yet, and this could be the first step in a very successful title run for Adam Cole, and maybe even a little bit of a reinvention for Adam Cole, a little bit of a career resurgence, because right now he is not really doing a ton of note. My interest in Adam Cole is not very high right now. I would have a feeling the general fan base would be probably the same. So it might be a good way to sort of get people interested in Adam Cole again. On the other side, Kyle Fletcher's incredible. He is one of the up and comers. I don't really like saying that because he's already like a made man. He is a star in AEW. So giving him a title would really cement that. And I think that there is some good parity in that when comparing him to Ospreay on this show, where I'm predicting Ospreay to not only not have a title, but not be able to get a title for the next year, not be able to get a world title at least, and Kyle Fletcher wins that title. It'll do a lot to elevate Kyle and to potentially be able to continue the feud between him and Will and saying, I won a title before you did in AEW. And I know he's been like ROH TV champion or whatever, but doesn't really count. So it's sort of a toss up storyline wise and booking wise. I can see reasons why both guys would win. So it's really, who do I want to see as TNT champion more? And I want to see Kyle Fletcher as TNT champion more than I want to see Adam Cole. I like Adam Cole, but I'm not really interested in what he's doing right now. I would much rather see him do trio stuff with Paragon, do some stuff, maybe some tag stuff with Daniel Garcia. I think Kyle Fletcher would be in a much better position as TNT champion. And I think that if you stick him on Dynamite, you stick him on Collision, give him a title match every 2 or 3 weeks, he will just have banger matches all the time, because that's what he does. Kyle Fletcher, new TNT champion. Next, we have a pretty recent addition. It's the Ops of Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Katsuyori Shibata going up against the Death Riders, Wheeler Yuta, Claudio Castagnoli, and Gabe Kidd. A toss-up on this one. Not really sure who's going to win. Not really, because I feel they've done a good job booking it. I just think it's something randomly thrown on the card. I'll put the Ops to win, just because I feel like this card will be the disillusionment of the Death Riders and them really being at their weakest. This is the fall of the Death Riders. So yeah, I'll have the Ops take a win here, but I'm not super invested in the match. I don't necessarily think it'll be a great match when compared to some of the other stuff on here. The only reason I can see it to be on the card is if we are doing a Death of the Death Riders storyline, which, would go against my earlier prediction that the Young Bucks will win, but I'll have the Ops take the win here. Next, we have a title unification match. It's Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada 5. This match is really difficult to call. This is probably the most difficult match to call on the card, because current standings are Okada won the first match, they had a draw in the second, and then Omega took the last two. So Omega is up 2-1-1 right now. So based off of that match, if Okada won this match, you're setting up a potential 6th money match in the future to see who is the best in the series. So that would lead me to believe Okada would win. I'm not going with Okada, though. I'm going with Omega. I think that Omega is a better wrestler in 2025 than Okada. I think Okada has been not really doing a whole lot of substance lately. He had a match with Mark Briscoe at Grand Slam Mexico that was just sort of meh. Whereas Kenny really goes out and does something special each time that gives a really good performance. And he won the title not too long ago, probably at Revolution in February must have been. So I think it'll do more for Kenny as a character, reintroducing himself to AEW after so much time off, to have him win this match and unify the titles. And just speaking on this a little bit, I have no idea what this match is going to be in terms of quality. I think the floor is probably like 4.5 stars, like being a really, really great match. It'll be great no matter what, but I don't know if it will quite live up to their matches of the past. I don't think it really can. I consider Omega Okada 2 one of the greatest matches of all time, and that's a weird one to pick from their series. Probably the least loved match is my favorite. Omega Okada 1, absolutely incredible, also one of the greatest of all time. 3 is fantastic, so much fun. 4, I'm not a huge fan of. I'm the low guy on that match. I think this match will be better than 4. I don't know if it'll quite reach the heights of the other 3. I don't know if it'll crack 5 stars. I mean, it'll crack 5 stars with Meltzer, because he gives anything 5 stars nowadays. But really, will it be 5 stars? That I'm not so sure about. I don't think it will be. I think we'll be in probably like 4 3/4 territory for this match. I do think it'll be a great match, and I hope to see Kenny walk away with the win. For the AEW Women's World Title, champion Toni Storm defending against Mercedes Mone. I gave it away earlier in the card. I do think Mercedes is going to win here. I think that it's all set up for Mercedes to win. Toni would not really get a lot from beating Mercedes here. Toni has been such a dominant champion over the past, since she won at Revolution, but even longer than that, when she before she got beaten by Mariah May, she was so credible and so dominant, the greatest women's champion in AEW history, easily head and shoulders above everyone else. Um, but I think it's Mercedes' time to really be at the top of this division, to hold both women's singles titles in AEW and all the other million titles that she has. I just see her getting so much more from beating Toni and becoming the champion. And I think that her finally being at the top of the division is where she belongs at this point, because she's incredible. All the criticisms that she was given at the top of her run completely dissolved, completely gone. She's absolutely phenomenal. I think she'll be an incredible world champion. And I think she will have a really good match in her first defense against Athena. Main event, or presumably what will be the main event, World Championship, Texas Death Match, Jon Moxley losing the title to Adam Page. You have to hope that Adam Page finally ends this Jon Moxley title run. I hope they are not holding out for Darby Allin. I hope honestly Darby is at the show. I'm picturing this match going down sort of like WrestleMania 40. I've heard people calling this like the Avengers match of AEW, where you have all the good guys versus all the bad guys. So on Moxley's side, you have Wheeler, Claudio, maybe even a returning Pac. I have no idea what his injury status is like or why he's been out. So that's just complete speculation. Gabe Kidd, the Young Bucks, Marina, anyone else we can really, not really anyone else we can throw in there. But then the good guys, you have Adam Page being backed by Ospreay, being backed by Strickland, being backed by the Ops, maybe even Darby Allin, maybe even Bryan Danielson. I think that all the pieces are in place for Adam Page to win this title. I think it's the most interesting story going forward, because obviously I don't want to see Jon Moxley as world champion anymore. I didn't want to see him as world champion at the end of last year, and now we're into July and he's still champion. And I think the idea that Swerve and Ospreay won't be able to challenge for his title sets him up so nicely to have a really, really great run where he defends it against MJF and has matches with Takeshita and Fletcher and Josh Alexander, having a title match with the Beast Mortos. Who else could he have a really good title match with? I don't know. But he can have good title matches with him. And he can have a great match with Okada. He can have a match with Omega for all the gold. Who knows? Who cares? He's a great champion. And he didn't really have a great run his first time. He had great matches against Danielson, great matches against Adam Cole, but I don't really think it's remembered that fondly. I think this is the time where we have the lengthy Hangman Page run after his retribution, after his heel run, where we get our hero back, the main character of AEW back on top as world champion. Banish the Death Riders from my TV screen. Give me all the Hangman Page I can stomach. And those are my predictions for AEW All In Texas. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Who do you think is going to win the Casino Gauntlet matches? Will Hangman Page, Mercedes Mone, and Kenny Omega walk away with all the gold after this show? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know if I'm completely off base on some of my predictions, or if my fantasy booking is completely out of left field and completely nonsensical. I want to hear your guys' opinions in the comments down below. While you're there, please like, please subscribe, please check out some of the other content on this channel, as it really, really, really does help a new channel like mine to grow. For those who have been watching my videos and who have been supporting me, I'd like to give you all the thanks in the world. But until next time, I have been Isaiah from Hot Tag Wrestling, and I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time.